right, Rutgers basketball at Purdue Thursday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, FS1. Jason Benetti and Robbie Hummel on the call. Is this the golden ticket for Rutgers basketball? If they win this game, does this propel them to the bubble and give them a legitimate opportunity to make the NCAA tournament? I mean, it certainly would. I think you could argue it would be the biggest win in college basketball this season, simply because I think it's pretty much a consensus, despite recent losses, that UConn and Purdue are the best two teams in college basketball this season. Neither team has lost at home. So to win at Purdue, that would be monster. It would be the talk of college basketball tonight, tomorrow. It would be buzz-worthy, and it would certainly boost their resume for a high quad one road victory. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's focus on the game and all the talk about, whether, do they still have a chance to make – listen, there's still games on the schedule. There's still an opportunity to build your resume. Rutgers has 6 quad 1 and quad 2 victories. They have 3 road wins. They have a base that if they can just keep winning, then yeah, I think they have a legit shot. But they have to keep winning. And I am not a believer that if they lose tonight, they're eliminated or anything like that. But this would certainly be – this is their best opportunity for a signature win remaining. And they're going to a place they won last year. They've split 3 of the last 6 games against Purdue. They've won twice at Purdue in terms of since 2020. So 2 of the last 4 years. And this team obviously, underperformed in the second half at Minnesota. This is an opportunity for them to bounce back. Now, what are some of the keys in this game? Although Rutgers did a really good job in the first meeting at the rack of limiting Purdue from 3, they have been deadly at home. They're shooting 40% in Big Ten play, tops in the league from 3-point line. But at home, they're even better. They haven't made less than 8 threes in a game at home in Big Ten play. They have 5 games this season of double-digit threes made from behind the arc. They can catch fire. I mean, they have their top 4 shooters in terms of 3-point range that are their regular 3-point guys. You have Braden Smith, who's shooting 42.7%. You have Fletcher Lawyer shooting 42.2%. You have Mason Gillis shooting 48.1%. And then Lance Jones, who shoots the most, he has 157 attempts, and he's trailing far behind at 36.3%. You know how many players on Rutgers are shooting above 36% from 3? 0. So Purdue can beat you with lots of guys from behind the arc. They've done a really good job in the last 2 years of shutting down Lawyer. Braden Smith had a really good game at the rack. With Jeremiah Williams now, you're going to have size in the backcourt that you didn't have last time. I think that a huge key, Purdue does not turn teams over, and they turn it over at a decent clip. So Rutgers is going to have to be aggressive in the press. Rutgers is – listen, this team, they know the moment that they're in. This is a critical opportunity, and they have to bring everything tonight. And everyone's got to be able to contribute. But defensively, they have to be much – in a way, this might sound a little weird, but like having that kind of really poor defensive effort. And from a defensive efficiency standpoint, the Minnesota loss was the worst performance of the season defensively. I think it could benefit them tonight because they're going to have the attention of Pikel, and they're going to want to make up for it. And this is still the number 2 defensive team in the country and number 1 in the Big Ten from a defensive efficiency standpoint. So I think it makes them a little extra hungry. I don't know if this is going to matter, but, with Illinois losing, now Purdue has their cushion back. Maybe that motivates them more. Maybe it motivates them less. I don't know if that's a factor, but defensively, Rutgers has to be disruptive. They're going to have to force turnovers. They're going to have to turnovers. They're going to have to score in transition. Purdue is a monster inside. Obviously, Zach Edey, National Player of the Year, going to be 2-time after this year. Holding opponents. They have the number 1 2-point defense in Big Ten play. Was it 45% opponents are shooting? 46.7%. Number one. Rutgers, as we know, is last in 2-point shooting at 41.4%. They've struggled with layups. Purdue is very good at limiting opponents on the glass in terms of Big Ten play. They're number 2 defensively in limiting opponents on the offensive glass. They are also number 1 in offensive rebounding. So rebounding is going to be a massive key. Knowing where your shooters are, closing out on threes is going to be huge. But Rutgers is going to have to get something going offensively. You know, Purdue hasn't scored less than 79 points at home all season. They have multiple games of 90s. They've even gone over 100 a few times. I mean, this is a potent offense at home. They love Mackey. The crowd's going to be crazy. Everyone, more or less, I shouldn't say everyone. The majority seems to say that Mackey's the toughest place to play in the Big Ten. But again, Rutgers has thrived there. And they know what to expect, at least the guys that were on the team last year. And I think this team's going to have the chip on their shoulder, bad taste in their mouth from Sunday. So defensively, they're going to have to be super connected. You know, Cliff versus Edey, typically it's kind of a one-on-one battle. Edey had his best game against Rutgers last time at the rack. First game over 20 points. Purdue shot 65% from 2 in the first matchup. That is a huge problem. Foul trouble. You know, Purdue is number 1 in free throw rate defensively, meaning they do not foul much at all in Big Ten play. So that is going to be key. Rutgers has to generate offense. Are they able to get fouled and get their right shooters to the foul line? Is who's going to step up and hit threes? You know, they had a minus 12 point differential from behind the arc against Minnesota. They lost by 11. Not the only reason they lost, but you can't, Purdue, I mean, they could be minus 30 tonight. They can't let that happen. Someone's going to have to, they can limit Purdue from 3. Purdue's not making less than 5, 6, probably 7, at home from behind the arc. It's more about the percentage than how many makes they make. But you're not going to keep up if you only, if you're 3 of 16 from 3. And they really struggled in that second half. They're going to need to get some bench scoring tonight. Whether that's if Mag is back in the starting lineup and that's Andre Hyatt, or if Mag comes off the bench, can Noah Fernandez give them something? Can Gavin Griffiths finally kind of break through that rut since the Penn State game? He's been really quiet offensively. Is Oscar Palmquist going to get a shot? Somebody's got to hit some threes for this team. And it's got to be within the flow of the offense. Against Minnesota, they kind of fell into their old routine of, not sharing the basketball as well, getting a little bit too much into ISO. Minnesota did a really good job of cutting off that high ball screen with Cliff and Jeremiah and really, just kind of drop coverage, clogging the paint, taking away driving lanes. I think they need to have a lot of screening action in the half court on offense in this game. Really make Purdue work defensively. Purdue is good. I mean, they're 20th nationally defense. They're 4th in the Big Ten. They're a good defensive team. But, in terms of how they match up physically, I like how Rutgers matches up against the guards. They really limited Lance Jones in the first game. He's been very good for them. That's going to be a key in this game. But, between Lance Jones, Braden Smith, and Lawyer, right, Edey's going to be Edey. But, and then Gillis, like those guys, can they limit those guys in this game? Can they create turnovers off of Lawyer and Smith? Can the pressure bother them as much as they have done in the past? Some at the rack. Last year in the Big Ten tournament, it was a big problem for Purdue. Rutgers was really, hurting them with their press. So Rutgers is going to have to give max effort tonight, 40-minute effort. I think Pikel will dig in that bench, at least in the first half. We played a lot of guys against Minnesota, but, really 6 guys got the majority of the minutes. I think the question is, how healthy is Mag? Is that soreness? How much is he going to be effective? He's kind of been a little bit I thought it was telling that he fouled out against Minnesota. I think that for me, that just showed that he's not feeling 100%. He's not feeling great. His timing's a little off. He's a little bit like half a step slow maybe, or just his timing's off. And maybe it's due to just not feeling great. So, or, missing a little bit of time. So not sure how much he's been practicing. We did see Austin Williams back a little bit in that Minnesota game. So it's just going to have to be, they're going to have to be connected on both ends. They're going to have to be disciplined. They're going to have to be patient on offense. They can't fall into the trap of just shooting 15 to 18-foot contested jumpers. They need to swing the ball. listen, can you attack Edey and get him in foul trouble? I mean, he very rarely ever does. But, you got to try something. You got to attack the lane. You got to find Cliff in space. It's a game that, honestly, I feel like it's going to be close. I think Rutgers is going to be motivated tonight. They're going to come to play. I think Peichel schemes really well against Purdue. And this is going to be an effort game. Can they show Purdue that, hey, they're here to play and, be physical? They can't be overly, aggressive. They can't. They got to be careful with foul trouble. But this is an attitude game. I think Rutgers has confidence against Purdue. It's one of those weird things that I think this program, just for whatever reason, is a nuisance to Purdue. And they have to stay focused tonight. They have to be communicative. You have to see these guys talking to each other, huddling up constantly. And they have to finish when they have good opportunities. Any easy basket is gold in this game. You can't miss layups. You can't miss. You have to take advantage of 2-on-1s in transition. You have to be able to capitalize on turnovers and offensive rebounds, converting into second chance points. You have to take every opportunity that's there and convert as many as possible. On the flip side, you got to keep Purdue off the glass. It's going to be all hands on deck. That's why they really need Mag healthy in this game. You need your guards rebounding. It's going to be obviously a major challenge. If they lose, it's not the end of the world. But I really just want to see this team compete and give Purdue their best shot on the road. And listen, Rutgers has won 3 big games on the road. They played great at Seton Hall. Maryland was a tough win. Obviously, Michigan, they came from behind. This team has proven that, even against Minnesota, they were down 17. They cut it to 6 late in the game. Like, they don't give up, and they're going to play balls to the wall hard. And Purdue knows this. So, what adjustments does both teams make from the first matchup? Again, I think guard play is so huge. I think bench play, who's going to step up for Rutgers, who's going to hit some threes, because it's, points are going to be in the premium inside. Purdue is excellent inside, obviously with Edey. And when he's off the floor, you got to attack. I think that's going to be key as well. So they need, scoring balance tonight. They need everyone connected on defense, and they need to limit mistakes. Obviously, turnover-wise, they have to win that turnover margin, and they have to hold their own offensively on the glass and overall on the boards, and they have to hold their own from behind the arc. I don't expect them to win that battle, but they can't. It can't be 12-3 in terms of 3 makes, because then it's gonna be a blowout. So I'm excited. Again, what it would mean for their resume would be huge, but I just want to see this team play well. I just want to see this team give Purdue all they can handle, and the rest will take care of itself. Because if they can show up tonight, then they're going to have confidence. Their last 2 games on the road, at Wisconsin, at Nebraska, 2 teams they already beat, that they can win those games. And winning those games would be so important as well. So can they do it tonight? Remains to be seen. I think they have a shot. KenPom gives them a 7% chance. I think they have a better shot than that. Again, a lot of keys in terms of doing that, but this is going to have to be in the 60s, low 70s tops to be able to win this game. Purdue has not, they've scored 80 or above in every home game except 1 this year. So huge task, walking into a hornet's nest in Mackey, but these players are going to embrace it. I think they're going to have the right mindset. I think you're going to see a more complete performance that you saw against Minnesota. Will it be enough? We'll see. Tune in tonight, 7 o'clock FS1, and I'll be back for a rapid reaction following the game. And thanks so much for listening and watching the Scarlet Faithful podcast once again.